Good morning, everyone. Now we are going to talk about the Indian concept of philosophers. So they are Indian philosophers. So first we were going to talk about the Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, he was the prominent Indian philosopher and spiritual leaders and social reformers. Now, in that sometimes the question is repeating like chronological order, which is the first, second, and third. So in beginning under 1863 and 1902 his lifespan, and he was talking about the Vedanta and yoga, okay, which is plays very significant role in the field of education. According to him, education, he was talking about education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. And he was talking some of the books that karma yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga, and inspire talk, and also vedanta, young India. Okay, those things are written by him. So his philosophical thoughts are talking about the holistic education and character development and individual and uniqueness. He was talking and practical knowledge. Knowledge should be very practical. Education should be from all round, not only part, physical, mental, spiritual. Every part should be focused on that. Character development. Student, the learners or individuals should be noble character development, like character truthfulness, integrity, honesty, fearlessness of that student, and self-reliance student will believe themselves, and self-confidence that self-belief should be developed within the learners, and education for the service for the society. Okay, these things are talking about that. And now Rabindranath is believes in the naturalism, and 1863. So Rabindranath is 2 years older than Swami Vivekananda, and 1941 he was a Nobel Prize, 1913 because of Gitanjali Songs of Offering. Okay, this Songs of Offering was released in published, composed in 1910, and that so it has volume two, three volumes a day. So again 12 and 13 he was awarded Nobel Prize because W.B. Yeats was that person who has written preface on that Gitanjali. So and then 1913 that he was awarded as a Nobel Prize, and he was talking some of the book Gora, and also Home and the Vowel, and the Sadhana and the Post Office. Okay, and his philosophical concept is talking about their harmonious development of individual and their connection with natures and universe, so that the learners, the individual, should not be enforced anything or should not be giving any burden to the learners, to the individual, or that learners, that individual will learn flowness with the nature or surrounding, and universe, natural law way. Again, then he emphasizes the holistic approach of education that goes beyond rote learning and focusing on nurturing creativity, empathy, and sense of the wonders. There, the learners should be holistic approach education. There should not be learning. Rote learning, it should be free from the rote learning. Rote learning means that memorizing the things. Okay, they should be free from that. And he was also talking about that arts, cultures, and nature education, they should be included, integrated. And he was established that Vishwabharati and University in Shantiniketan, that is in West Bengal. And now we can talk about the Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, as 1869, is that more younger than first is the Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, Swami Vivekananda, and Mahatma Gandhi. If we arrange in chronological order, so in 1940, he was assassinated. He was killed by Nathuram Godse, right? So Gandhiji, his principle was the Satya and truth and non-violence, Satya and Ahimsa. And he believed that education should not be only focused on the academic and knowledge acquiring, but also individual into morally upright and responsible citizen for that nation, for that. And also he was talking about that experiential learning and vocational training and integration of physical, intellectual, and moral development. His book that Hinsaras and Hey to Hell and My Experiment with Truth, and it was autobiography and written in that 1927. And Naitalim basic education, or we can say Naitalim is the basic education, or Naitalim or Bunyadi Shiksha. Okay, it was in 1937, 1937, and the concept and the towards new education 1937 it was also, and he was talking about that this basic education, the primary level education should be taught in medium of instruction should be mother tongue, and there should be art and craft integration in teaching learning process. The learners will be learn some of the basic needs for their livelihood. Okay, and then Sri Aurobindo, 1872 is more younger than the rest of the philosopher, and he was written the life event and Savitri, 1950. The Savitri is important. Sometimes it is given in exam. So an essay on the Gita. So he was talking about the integral education. Their concept of integral education to nurture not only the intellectual aspect of the person but also their emotional, physical, and spiritual dimension. Not only the intelligent aspect, but also the learner. So the education should be emotionally or physically, spiritually very fit enough for the person, for the individual, and that's why he was talking about the integration education and holistic. He was also talking about the holistic development, self-discovery, evaluation perspective and consciousness centered learning. Now Jitu Krishnamurti also a philosopher, and 1895 is the most younger and passed away from in 1963. 1963, 86. So, and Jiddu Krishnamurti written book that At the Feet of the Master and Education and the Significance of Life, First and Last Freedom, and inquiry. And his philosophical thoughts of the education was that true education is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, also the molding of the individual to fit into society forms, but also rather process of discovering one own's mind and conditioning. And that's why he was talking about that self inquiry and freedom from authority and holistic learning beyond. And Paulo Freire 1921 and 1921 and 1997 is the lifespan. He was talking about the pedagogy of oppressed there, in volume that this was published in the Portuguese. He was Brazilian philosopher, and published in 1968. This book is the one of the most famous book about talking in the education system, and educating based on the dialogue, conscious, conscientization, and empowering the marginalized people, and also education for critical consciousness. So he has written, and pedagogy of hope, teachers and culture workers, and the politics of education, culture, power, and liberation. Okay, and he was talking about the critical pedagogy. Educational philosophy centered around the critical pedagogy, which emphasizes that the importance of dialectical thinking and raising consciousness. Okay, and then he was talking the problem posing education. There should be there should be the solution, and dialogue play a crucial role in that. He believed that creating a space for a respectful and open communication where the student can express their experience, concern, and respectively freely. And education for liberation, for very education was not just acquiring knowledge but also about the liberating individual from oppression, poverty, marginalization. And he was also talking about the banking concept of education there, which is associated with the pedagogy of oppress. Okay, so I'm not going through that. And Mary Wollstonecraft, humanist philosophers and writers also. Human rights. She was talking about the human rights, 1757 EBU or chronological. That she was the first person, and she was always talking about the women education. Women should be treated equally, and that's why that the books are thoughts on the education of daughters, and original stories from the real life, and a vindication of the rights of women, and vindication of the rights of women, vindication of the rights of men, and vindication of the rights of women. This book is a little bit important. So 1792 it was published. So what is education talking about? The equality in education, men and should be given equal opportunity and emphasizing on region. Weston emphasizes the importance of region in education. She believes that by cultivating rational thinking and critical reasoning skill, individual could lead more fulfilled lives and better make life decision. And talking about the individual development and social benefits and questioning gender norms and Neil Nordic is American philosopher. American philosopher and 1929 they're born. Some of the related education publication talking about the caring and women and evil, these books are important. The challenges of care in school and cultivating educating moral people and happiness in education, talking about that. Now if you have time you can go for study. And now philosophical thoughts, she was talking that there should be giving the ethics of care, ethics not in content, and then caring should be the foundation of education, where educators demonstrate a genuine concern for the well-being of their student. That should be caring and whole child approach. Whole the child and their lifespan should be that the child should be giving importance every each and every person, and their for their emotional, social, and ethical development should be considered in this process. And she was talking about the community and cooperation. There should be community and school should be supported to individual and for society development and moral development. Also talking about the Savitri Bai Phule, she also that also talking about that education in India and 1831 is more we can say not earlier philosopher we order we arrange in chronological order. So here काव्य फुले भगवान का श्री शोध रत्नाकर talking about this बाल हत्या प्रतिबंधक grant. So Mitra Mela, these things are John Dewey also another one of the most American greatest philosophers, psychologists, and education reformer. I was talking about the child-centered education and fostering critical thinking, problem solving, and democratic values, and there some of the important books of the school and society, and then democracy and education and the experience and education and how we think the arts and experiences and freedom and culture. And there's an then Rosso was talking about the important books of discourse on the arts and science and discourse on the origin and the basis of inequality among men and the social contrast. There Emile and the education it was published in the 1763. It was published, it's written by the Rousseau. And then talking about the natural center of education and negative education. Negative, what is the negative education? The concept of negative education which involved limiting external influences and constraint on the child development. So the education when the child has been only restricted within that particular topic, within the particular things, then it is a negative education. Then he also believed that too much early instruction and formal education could hinders a child's ability to think independently. So that's why talking about that, let the children learn first and let them experience first. And this formal education sometimes it gives that negative education. Why he was talking about that? Because timetable you have to follow and you have to complete the syllabus. You have to learn the student has to be write something and based on that examine some of the practical aspects that. But this formal education cannot give every the social knowledge. Practical knowledge cannot give what the social aspects, but that formal education only restricted within the classroom mostly. So that's why talking about the and negative education, the external influence sometimes may mm, some limiting to the learners. That's why talking about the negative education. And education is self-guided learning where moral education will be provided there. So they go by Badikar also at 1912 he was from India and talking about the child-centered education in India. Botanic pedagogy and Balbaban and Diva Sapna is in 1915 and they presented the idea of using the dreaming as a tool stimulating creativity and imagination within the children. Diva Sapna and this Kunja. Kunjarani also 1925 is written book by you by Gijubai Badekar. So here talking about that learning should play because the children we play something and they will learn themselves by create some creative and their storytelling also emphasizing storytelling and imagination even NEP 2020 is also talking about the storytelling talk and activity based learning NEP 2020 moral development emotional moral development so here we can talk about that some of the practices we can do to so definition of education is the drawing out the inherent potential within the individual. Okay, so here, according to some people, education should primarily focus on the character building and morally, physically, morally, they should be very morally high, morally good, and character building virtues on within the student. And some you can advocate the integration of the two aspects of education, the science and spirituality. Mahatma Gandhi does not believe in the engineering or sciences. He was totally against of that. So you can remember that and. Rabindranath Tagore to emphasize the importance of a cultural exchange to promote cultural unity. And Gitanjali Song offerings received for that 1913 he was received Nobel Prize. And we can go for more the education and significance of life. Jitubai Krishna is because oneself and discovering the true intelligence beyond academic knowledge. Gijubai Badikar is talking about the Balbadan and child's garden. Why? Talking about the process of learning through play and exploration, and also talking about the daydreaming. About daydreaming is a tool to apply in that classroom situation, and what concept of they also propose in education to nurture children in nature inclination and negative education. Sorry, and what did Neil Nodding emphasize in the foundation of division in care theory? There is ethics of care and genuine concern for the well-being of the learners or student. And Neil Nodding also talking about the foundation of education should be the moral and ethical development of the learners. And thank you for your listening.